Alright guys, in the last video I showed you my Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition arcade cabinet pickup. Now, I've been having a blast with this. There's admittedly some things I need to fix. I still have to fix the monitor and all stuff like that, but I was curious as to what it takes to convert a Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition to a hyper fighting. So that's what we're going to do today in this episode. I'm going to show you what it takes and what you need to do, and hopefully at the end of this, it should be simple and easy, and we should convert this Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition into a hyper fighting. So let's get right to it. All right, before we get started, I wanted to show you a brief overview of the hardware. So this is the CPS-1 board that runs Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. Now this is comprised of 3 boards, really. There's the A board, the B board, and the C board. Why that's important is we're gonna have to remove this C board to gain access to the ROM chips underneath that we need to switch out to convert this to a hyper fighting board. Now hyper fighting ran on the same exact hardware. That's how we're able to make this transition. Now, just so you guys can see, this is actually the chips that we're going to put in place of the 21, 22, and 23 ROM chips. And once we do that, it should be converted to a hyper fighting board. So let's go downstairs, do this process on the actual cabinet, and at the end of the day, we should be good to go. All right, so we're back downstairs in front of our PCB. So as I said before, you have your A board, your B board, and your C board. We got to remove the C board first. Now, this board may take a little bit of moving and prying to get off because it's been on there for a really long time. So just give it a little bit of force and it'll pop out. So there we go, that's our C board. We're gonna take that and move it out of the way. And the reason why we need to do that is we need to gain access to the ROM chips 21, 22, 23, so we can switch those out for our hyper fighting ROM chips. Okay, so now we're ready to extract these ROM chips. Now typically you'd use a chip extraction tool, but I don't have one handy. So you can use a screwdriver if you're really careful. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put the screwdriver underneath this little opening between the chip and the socket. You just kind of rock it up ever so slightly. And I'm going to do it the same way on the other side. And just be careful, take your time. You don't have to go fast on this. And if you do it enough, little small movement, you'll get it up enough, because you don't want to do this too fast because you'll actually bend the pins, and no one wants to do that because then you can't put them back in. Okay, one more on this side and we should have this guy almost out. Oop. And there you go, all the pins are intact and look fine. So with the extraction tool, probably be better bet, but I didn't have one, so we're just gonna have to do it this way. So let's remove the other two and then we'll actually get these back in place. And you'll notice the sockets are actually numbered, so you can't really mess this up. All right, so we're gonna remove the rest of the chips, but I'm telling you right now, an integrated chip extraction tool is gonna be the way to go. I definitely don't recommend this, but if you don't have it and you're in a pinch, it will do the job. All right, let's move on to the next step of installing the new chips. Okay, now simply you're gonna install chip 21, 22, and 23. Make sure you line up those pins real nice with the socket and just gently press it down into place until you feel it's all the way down and it's flush. You don't have to force it down, but you are gonna have to apply a little bit of force, but just be careful because you don't wanna bend the pins. All right, there you go. There's all the chips replaced. We got 21, 22, and 23, and the old ones have been removed. So the only thing we have to do now is we have to just put our C board back in, and then we're pretty much good to fire up the arcade, and hopefully, if we did everything right, it'll be on hyper fighting. All right, we're in the final stretch. Let's put this C board back into place. Just kind of nudge it down there, give it a little good press here and there on the right and left, put your game board back in, put the control panel up, and we're good to go. All right, fingers crossed, guys. If we did this right, we should see hyper fighting. Yeah, there we go. This wasn't that bad. I'm actually pretty excited because, guys, this is pretty awesome. I never did anything like this before. I've extracted chips for things like Neo Geo Unibios and stuff, but that was 1 chip. This was 3 chips. It was a little bit intimidating, but you know what? Guys, don't shy away from stuff like this. You watch a couple videos, hopefully this video helps you, and then sure enough, you're doing something you never thought you could do before. So don't be afraid to do stuff, and there's so many people to help you, including myself. So check this out. So in this game, it's pretty neat. So Chun-li can fire fireballs. Ryu can do his roundhouse kick in the air. I clearly need some help. I'm not doing too well right now, but pretty neat. It actually added a bunch more improvements to the game as well, where the speed of the game has been increased. It's probably my favorite version, so I'm pretty stoked on this. I think I'm going to leave it, the marquee and everything, as Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, but now I got hyper fighting. And you know what's cool is this is a totally reversible mod, so if you want to go back, you can totally put those other chips back in and be back on Champion Edition. So I hope you thought this was interesting. I'm super excited about this, guys. It's like, I don't know.
you know, it was interesting. I've been doing all these mods, and I was doing them on arcade 1-ups, but this is like a whole other experience. So, you know, if you ever get the urge and you want to go find a cheap arcade cabinet, and you can have some fun with this. So this is going to be an ongoing series. We're going to improve this cabinet even more. I've got to improve things like changing the artwork out. I got to fix that monitor finally, so lots to do. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Please consider subscribing to the channel. And guys, we will see you on the next one. Take care.